It's a pleasant day and I welcome you to the African News. We are broadcasting from Canada. I am Sandra Asante. Let's take a look at the headlines. Ethiopians vote in first electoral test. Ethiopia election, Obasanjo leads the AU election team. Some parties have boycotted Ethiopian election. UN boss urges free and peaceful Ethiopian election. Only Ethiopians can determine elections' credibility. This and many more other stories coming up after the break. You're welcome back from the break to our first story. Ethiopians have started voting in regional and parliamentary elections despite worsening ethnic tensions along with conflict and hunger in the north. The polls were supposed to have been held in August 2020 but were delayed. Officials blame the coronavirus pandemic. Ethiopian voters are expected to elect 445 members of the federal parliament, and the leader of the winning party becomes the prime minister. A total of 102 of the 547 constituencies will not vote on Monday because of the insecurities and irregularities, and in the 38 constituencies in Tigray. The vote is the first electoral test for Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed since he took power in 2018. We are still on the elections, and former Nigerian President Olusegun Obasanjo is in Ethiopia to observe the country's twice delayed elections. Mr. Obasanjo is leading the African Union election observation team. A local news site has shared a picture of him at the polling station in Addis Ababa, where Ethiopian President Sahle-Work Zewde voted. To our next story, Ethiopia has changed in many ways over the last couple of decades. These include a big rise in the population of about 115 million people. Ethiopia is the second most populous nation in Africa and the 12th in the world. Its economy has also witnessed a rapid growth in the recent years, but there has been challenges of ethnic rivalries and conflict, and there is an ongoing fighting in the northern Tigray region that has led to humanitarian crisis. As the nation votes, the BBC has charted a dramatic changes and the country's big challenges. We are still on the elections, and parties in Ethiopia's most populous region, Oromia, said they will boycott the election. The Oromo Liberation Front, the OLF, pulled out in March, citing the jailing of some of its leaders and the alleged closure of its offices by the government, including its head office in the capital. It is one of the oldest parties in Ethiopia with a huge following in Oromia, where Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed comes from. The Oromo Federalist Congress, the OFC, the party of Jawar Mohammed, also announced in March that it was forced to pull out of the elections on similar grounds. It said those in prison include potential candidates such as Mr. Jawar, as well as its organizers and election observers. On our next story, the main issue for the Ethiopian as they vote is security and peace. The BBC Kaldigani Yabetal, who is in Addis Ababa, has told the New Day program. Even prior to the conflict in Tigray, there have been more than 2 million people displaced by ethnic clashes in multiple areas across the country, Kalgidan says. So the main issue for many voters is security and peace, and the apparent inability for people from different groups to live together, he added. There are also questions of how representatives the elections will be. One of the main issues that has been raised in the absence of credible opposition in Oromia, where the Prime Minister runs, he concluded. Some polling stations in Ethiopia have experienced delay in the opening. In Finote polling station in the Badar city, Deputy Mayor Daresi Healy was first in the line, but he had to wait for 45 minutes for voting to begin. Officials in Finote told the BBC Mohammed Salman that the delay was because of lack of transportation from the city. A polling station in Addis Ababa constituency number 15 also opened late. The official told the BBC Dabat Hamirat that they were waiting for candidates' representatives before starting. Election law states that all candidates' representatives must be present at the polling station before voting begins. Polling stations were supposed to open at 6 o'clock local time, but some polling stations were open more than 30 minutes later. We are still moving on, and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has urged Ethiopian authorities to ensure that all voters cast their vote freely and peacefully. He said that he has asked all involved to refrain from the act of violence and incitement. The UN posted his statement on Twitter. The voting has been taking place in Ethiopia since 6 o'clock local time, and BBC reporters have seen local queues of voters in the capital, Addis Ababa, and in other cities. No election is taking place in conflict-hit Tigray region as well as other constituencies because of insecurity and irregularities. We are still on the elections in Ethiopia, and the only prominent opposition politician taking part in elections has said that it is not up to the US or the EU but the Ethiopians to determine the credibility of the election. We do this election to make it credible for our sake, not for the international communities. Berhanu Nega, the leader of the main opposition party Ethiopian Citizens for Social Justice, told the BBC after casting his vote at the polling station in Addis Ababa. He added that he hoped that the election will be credible and not nothing like 2005 one. That, of course, could be in any way considered as credible because at the end of the day, they just stole the whole ballot boxes, and I am hoping that this would not happen here. I hope this will be a reflection of the popular will, Mr. Berhanu said. To our final story, a car bomb explosion targeting France Barkhane forces in the central Malian town of Kossi on Monday injured several soldiers, local sources told France 24. Several helicopters have been dispatched to the area according to witnesses. The attack occurred in Kaigori neighborhood of Kossi in the central Mali, injuring several soldiers operating under France's Operation Barkhane in Sahel, according to local sources. Witnesses said several military helicopters could be seen heading to the area following a massive explosion, said the Wassim Nasser France 24 expert on the jihadist groups. The attack came days after French forces in Mali captured a senior commander of the Islamic State in the Greater Sahara EIGS group. Dadi Al-Tohaib, also known as Abu Dada, was arrested on the 11th of June in the Flashpoint Terry borders region between Niger, Mali and Burkina Faso, the site of frequent attacks by jihadist groups, according to the French military. Mali has been in turmoil since 2012. Uprising prompted Mauritanian soldiers to overthrow the country's president of a decade. The power vacuum that was created ultimately led to an Islamic insurgency and a French-led war that ousted the jihadists from power in 2013. A peace agreement was signed in 2015 by three parties: the government, a coalition of groups who seek autonomy in northern Mali, and the pro-government militia. However, the insurgents quickly regrouped in the desert and began launching frequent attacks on the Malian army and its allies fighting the insurgency. The extremists affiliated with the Al-Qaeda and the Islamic State militant group have moved from the arid north to more populous central Mali since 2015, where their presence has stoked animosity and violence between ethnic groups in the area. In the latest turmoil, Colonel Assimi Goïta grabbed power in August 2020 by overthrowing Mali's democratically elected president. He eventually agreed to a transitional government led by the civilian president and prime minister, but on the 24th of May, he ousted the civilian leaders after they announced the cabinet reshuffle. Thank you so much for joining the African News today. My name is Sandra Asante. Thanks for watching. I'll see you some other time.